everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations. I have my second design team project for you today. We're going to go through a full walkthrough and then we'll dive into a very quick tutorial because this is really easy to put together. And I have everything ready to go, so it should be pretty quick and easy to do. This is the 49 in Market Cottage Core paper collection. It's absolutely beautiful. I've already made a really nice album before, but I had 6 papers left over, a sheet of cut-aparts, and some cardstock and things, some scraps, and I just had to use them up. So I decided to make this book, and it's kind of morphed into a recipe book, so I guess I just couldn't stay away from doing a recipe book. But you're gonna like it because we're using our scraps, we're utilizing what we have, and I think it's going to be a favorite of mine. I really like how this turned out. 49 in Market paper is very thick, and so I decided to make a book using the pattern paper as the pages, and it worked out fantastic. Now this because this paper is so thick, it worked out great, and I just think it's amazing. So the album itself is 8.5 by 5.5, has a 3-inch spine. We have 5 pages, and I did use the ephemera and things to decorate with. So like on the front cover here, and I'll go through the matting in the tutorial, and I'll also have it written down below just so you can know that. But I used one of the big Grandma's Kitchen ephemera pieces, and I put that on the front, and then I took this cut apart here, and I did have to trim it down to get it underneath this frame. I did pop it up with some foam, and then underneath the part that says "We Love," there was a doily. I fussy cut that out because I knew I was going to have to cut it off anyway, and I put it underneath in the opposite direction so that it was kind of underneath the frame sticking out, because Grandma and her doilies, right? Like I have doilies, so I'm a grandma, it works. And then I have the plant here popped up underneath here with the foam, and then I put some plants up in here kind of off to the corner. So that's how I decorated the front, and it's my leftovers, and I think it worked out great. On the spine here, I wanted Grandma's cupboard here, and so I matted that back here with some green that I had left over, and then I used one of the envelope seals, put the green twine behind, a bow behind, and then one of the buttons that I was using from that embellishment pack from a previous design team package. And then here is the back, and again Grandma's cupboard here, and then I did take a piece from the branding strip that says "A Walk Down Memory Lane," and I glued that there, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So I used, all in all, I used another sheet of chipboard. I did use 4 sheets of craft, 3 sheets of natural artisan cardstock from my stash, and then everything else was from leftovers from the design team package. So I used the rest of the seam binding to go ahead and make a closure, and again I did it underneath all that matting. So when you open it up, we have pockets on the inside covers here. I'll go through those real quick with you. So 2 pockets stacked together, and I'm going to show you, this is where I used a lot of my scraps, because honestly these scraps reminded me of, with the brickwork, it looked like ruled paper, and I thought, why not make this into a recipe card, a journal card? You can see that they're all different sizes. This is what I had left over, and so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to use them. I'm not going to cut them. I'm going to just use them. The brickwork looks like ruled paper, so you could totally write your recipes on here. This one might be a little bit harder to do, but you know what, you can do it on here for sure. So I just put I had tabs from the ephemera packs, so I just used tabs on those. So those go into the bigger pocket here. I wanted to use Grandma's Kitchen and Grandma's Cupboards, so I did put these in the journal pockets. They're just so big, I didn't want to waste them. The backs are blank. You could put a photo here, you could write a note here, you could even put a small recipe here. Used one of the ephemera pieces and one of the laser cuts down here. Just made it really super cute, and that'll go in the big pocket as well. I have 2 of the cut aparts here, so some of them I rounded the corners and some of them I didn't. Those go in here. I had one of the little tags here that I used the last bit of my seam binding and a little bit more of the green twine there, and just tied that, so you had to have that. And then here I wanted to use a couple more of the frames, and so I came up with an idea, got a fuzzy, to make this, it's going to be a photo frame, right? But I wanted to make it so that it was easily used. So what I did was I took a piece of natural artisan cardstock, and this one is 2 7/8 by 3.5, and I scored it at 3/8 of an inch in, and then I put the edge of that paper with the score like right at the edge of the frame here, and then folded it over. Not, it was centered when I did that. And so if you have leftover frames, just measure your frames and make sure that you've got, because these are all different sizes. And so it's ready to go. You put your photo here, take off the score tape, stick it down, and then you've got a ready-made photo mat, and then you can journal back here if you want. Okay, so I did that in the here, and I did it in one of the pockets in the back cover too. All right, so the pages are pattern paper pages. These 49 in Market papers are so thick. And once I put all of my photo mats on here, it was a hefty little album. So I have 5 pages. I have 5 small photo mats, and then I have 5 large photo mats. The small photo mats, like the brown cardstock here, the small is 3.5 by 4.5, and then the natural is 3.25 by 4.25. This one I did glue on just 2 sides so I could put a journal card back here. And then I didn't do anything up here because it was already so pretty. I didn't want to do that. But here I added one of the little plants from the laser cuts. And then the way that we're going to do the hinges with these pages, on the fronts, I did need to do something, so I did add a strip of pattern paper, just like we would do on the gusset spaces between our pages. And I did that on the front, and that's where they're attached. So the back, you can see there is nothing there. I'll show you that in the tutorial. And then I added some of the flat back pearls to kind of mimic like brads. If you were going to use a brad to attach a page, that's what I did with that. So that was page 1. On the back of page 1, I have the photo mat. It's completely glued down. The larger photo mats, the different colored cardstock, is 6.5 by 4.5, and then the natural is 6.25 by 4.25. So this will fit a 6 by 4 picture. This will fit like a 3 by 4 picture. Okay. And then I had some fencing left over, so I glued it on the bottom and the sides. I added the plant and my chicken, my last little chicken. I had to add that. On this page, I kept it pretty simple. Glued the large photo mats down, and then I glued my hanging plant down so that you could tuck a picture underneath. Okay. And again, I did the mat here on the hinge with the enamel or the flat back pearls, you know. On this one here, I glued the picture on 3 sides to make a pocket. I'm getting tongue-tied, so that you could put a journal card behind there. All right, and the back of the journal cards, you guys, is this beautiful marbled piece, so you could put another picture here, or you could journal on that as well. And then I have Grandma's table here, and you can get your picture underneath Grandma's chair there. So on this page here, I did something a little bit different. I used some pattern paper because I was running out of my cardstock. I used some pattern paper to make the mat, but then I thought, well, let's do something a little bit different. So I created a hinge so that I could still see the back of that, and you could put a picture back here. So I just cut a piece of cardstock that was 6.5 by 1. I scored it at half, and then I used my edge punch and just created a simple hinge for that. I used the columns here, just glued them on the sides so you could tuck a picture under the columns if you want. And then I used one of the tabs from the branding strip here at the bottom. All right, so that's that page. On this page here, I have the photo mat here, and I glued it again on 3 sides to create a pocket. And I got the journal card back there, and then I used Grandma's porch swing here and did it so that you could put your picture behind that. Isn't that pretty? I'm loving how this turned out. The papers are just amazing here. I did use my give space here on the pages because they are a little bulky with the flat back pearls and everything. I did do that. This one is glued on 3 sides. Again, another tuck pocket for your journal card, and then Grandma's chair, and I layered it over top of the grandfather clock. This page here, I did another flip. So this is a brown cardstock. Again, another piece from the branding strip. And this natural cardstock was not quite big enough for a 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 mat. So I just used a strip of pattern paper to cover the edge. You can still put your picture over top of it. It added a little color to it. And then underneath I used the lattice fencing and again created a pocket with that with 2 more journal cards in there. And those just tuck under there like that. And again, another tab from the branding strip. On this page here, I just glued the photo mat down. It is a cardstock mat with the white. Added the chair here, and then I put a plant in the pot that was attached to the chair. So I will show you in the tutorial how I did that, but that plant actually wasn't in the pot from the laser cuts, so I did add that. And then I put the light fixture up at the top here, and again, you can put the photos underneath everything. Got fuzzies everywhere. On this page, I just did it simple because of the door. I didn't want to really cover up the door. So I did it, glued it on 2 sides and tucked the journal card here. And then back here, we have our other pocket assembly. So it's just a stacked pocket. We'll go through it in the tutorial that's coming up next. I did, again, use the word here, moments, and then tied the last little bit of twine that I had around the T to decorate that. And then in the bigger pockets again, and these are all different sizes, you can tell, but I mean, seriously, these make great recipe cards. I mean, these were scraps. These were the scraps I had left over. So your scraps may vary, obviously, depending on how you cut your paper and everything, but I thought those were perfect. Again, 2 more journal cards. Okay, those go in here. This came from the packaging from the laser cuts. They had a little frame with a little tag in the middle of the frame. So I cut that out, punched the hole, used the last little bit of seam binding and the twine that I had because each pocket had to have a little tag, right? And then I did create another frame, and this turned out to be the same size as the front one. So again, the natural cardstock was 2 7/8 by 3 1/2, and I scored it at 3/8 and then lined it up to the edge of the frame, glued it down, score tape, boom, photo mat. Okay, how's that? Score tape, boom. And then I did have to use this die cut as well because it's just gorgeous and it's big. And on the back of this, I used this word strip from the ephemera pack and then a couple of the leaves from the laser cuts behind it. And that just tucks in the back pocket since it's so big. So that is kind of the full walkthrough. All of the fronts of the pages have flat back pearls to mimic the brad kind of look. We have a 1/4 inch gusset. There's a 1/2 inch gusset between the pages, but we have that 1/4 inch give space. And it just worked out really good. And especially once you get all of the pieces on these pages, these are super thick and they're going to be durable and you're going to love this. And I thought, what a great way of using this paper. This paper is so thick that it worked out just perfectly. All right, so that's enough talking. That was the final walkthrough. Everything is decorated and ready to go. Let's get into the tutorial and I'll show you how I put it together. All right, y'all, I know you've seen the walkthrough, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on the tutorial and how I made this. So again, this is my second design team project using the 49 and Market Cottage Core collection, and it's absolutely just stunning gorgeous. I had 6 papers of the 12 by 12 pattern paper left over. I had a little bit of scraps left over from the pattern paper, and then I had some of the cardstock that I had from my first tutorial left over. So I just kind of pieced it together, came up with this really cool idea. So let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial. So the chipboard itself for the covers, you need 2 of those that are 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. So those are the covers, and then you need a piece that's 3 by 5 1/2, and that'll be for the spine. So it has a 3-inch spine. We're going to have 5 pages in here, which are going to be kind of cool and really easy to put together. And since I had like a lot of, well, not a lot, but I had pattern paper left over, and 49 and Market is so thick that I thought this would make a great project to kind of use up all those scraps. So I think it turned out really cool. All right, so on the cover, so I have the green artisan, or not artisan, the My Colors cardstock, and I did cut that at 5 1/4 or 8 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then I used the natural that I cut at 8 by 5, and then I used this piece of pattern paper here that is 7 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I did graduate down 1/4 of an inch on each of those. So the front cover, I used one of the big die cuts here, and then I layered this cut apart here. Now, what I wanted to tell you about this cut apart is that I did have to trim it to fit this frame, and I did use some foam tape underneath to pop it up. Underneath the saying had a doily under there, and I knew I was going to have to cut it off to fit the frame. So I salvaged the doily and I put it underneath and kind of have it sticking through as a decoration. I thought that was kind of fun. This is one of the laser cuts here that I did pop up on foam tape, and then I added some leaves behind here from the laser cuts as a decoration. And then here's the spine. Here's the little piece that I made, and I did use the last bits of my green twine with a button and then one of the little seals on the spine there. And the measurement for the green on the spine, I did it at 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. And then the back, I did the matting the same. I used another one of the cupboard die cut pieces for the back, and then I did use this word piece. This came from the branding strips. Use my words. Okay, so on the inside there's a pocket here, and I know you've seen all of this, so we'll just go ahead and start with making the pocket here. So what I'm gonna do is grab a couple pieces here. I've got everything pretty much ready to go, so I'm hoping that this will be a quick and easy tutorial for you. So I did need a couple pieces of craft cardstock, and like I said, I used about 3 sheets of natural, 3 sheets of natural, 4 sheets of craft, and then the pattern papers. So the first pocket here, I did it, I cut it at 9 1/2 minus a 1/16, and it measures 3 1/4. So what you're gonna do is put it with the 9 1/2 minus 1/16, and you're gonna score it half, and then you're gonna turn it clockwise, score it half, and then turn it and score at half. Okay, so you need to do that because I took off the 16th. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to get into the crease of our spine, so that's why I took that little extra bit off. The second piece is the same width as far as 9 1/2 minus the 16th, but it is 2 inches wide, so I've got a little stacked pocket going on. So you're gonna, again, I prepared it already, but score it at half, turn it, score it at half, turn it, and score it at half. And then to prepare it, we'll miter those 1/2 inch tabs, and I'll do this one with you. Really easy pocket. So I'm just going to miter that top piece, and then the bottom where you end up crossing those scores, you're just going to cut straight across at roughly a 45-degree angle, and that'll help take off bulk for your pocket. Okay, so that's the first part, and then we'll get our pieces folded and burnished. Now I did prep all of my papers, and again I used scraps, so your scraps may vary depending on how and what you cut to use your first album, you know, what you used on your first album. So I was just going through what I had and trying to you know, kind of use what I had. And then I had that idea for the page, and I just think that turned out really cool. I love how it turned out, and I think you will too. Really easy to put together. So let's get our book. So we have our pocket. Now I'm going to do the bottom pocket tab first because I'm going to use the tape trick. I know my paper is not going to go all the way in. So I'm going to turn it because I can see it a little bit better, and I'm just going to line this up at the bottom and the right corner here, so just flush with the cover of the book. Okay, make sure that's nice and lined up, and then I'm going to open that, burnish that down, make sure it's nice and burnished down. Okay, like so, and then grab your tape and then put that over the edge. Now, the thing that I was going to show you about this is that you have two tabs here. You've got the tab for the pocket, and then you've got the tab here with the chipboard. I'm just going to put 2 layers of tape. I'm going to put one here, and then I'll put one above that to cover the cardstock here. Okay, and then that way, no matter how big your pieces are, when you put them behind the pocket, if it doesn't go all the way to this mark, then your tags won't get stuck, you know, and get tangled up in that tab. So you don't want that. So I just covered them both up so that they will slide in nice and easy. And we're going to load these with tags. Okay. So that pocket is on. This one will just stack on top. And this one will go all the way into the pocket. So, no, actually it won't. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, that one goes right on top. We're going to do the tape trick again. So I'm just lining that up with the bottom and on the side here. And this book is kind of landscape, so it does get a little bit long. All right, tape. And over the tab, just make sure our tags don't get caught. So this particular book, I don't know if I said that in the walkthrough at the beginning of this video, but I was kind of thinking more like a recipe kind of thing because of the pieces that I had left over. They kind of looked like journaling cards to me, and I thought they would be really easy to write on. So I kind of went with that idea. Okay. All right. So now I've cut my pieces here. So I cut my pieces inside the album 1/8 of an inch smaller. So this is 1.5 inches deep, and it is roughly 8 3/8. So I cut my pieces at 8 1/4 by 1 3/8. So 1/8 inch less than the piece I'm covering. Okay. So since I'm not matting, I'm not doing any double matting because I don't have enough paper to do that with. I used those for other things. Okay. So I'm just going to glue these on. And then, like I said, I was looking at my scraps. So this is not going to go all the way down into the pocket. So that's why we use the tape trick. Okay. So I'm just using up what I had. So I like to pop mine in the pocket and then raise it up a little bit. Put my glue down. And then put it back. If I put my glue on and then try to put it in the pocket, I tend to make a humongous mess. And I didn't want to do that. Okay. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn this to the side. Okay. And again, this is just scraps. So what I ended up doing, the first thing I did on this page is I thought I was going to cover the whole thing here. And I decided, no, I'm going to put pockets on. So I just cut the bottom piece off to fit this pocket, and then the rest of it's going to go down into the pocket. Okay. So that's how I did that. So I kind of changed my mind midstream when I was like, no, let's put some pockets on here. Let's get some more stuff. All right. So I'm just going to pop this down. This paper is so thick. It's going to make great pages, you guys. It's going to make amazing pages. I have done this before with some thick papers before, and it does work out really well. Okay, so that piece is done. So now let's talk pages real quick, and then we'll add those into the book. So I already have 4 out of the 5 pages done, and I'll just show you what they look like all ready to go and put in the book. So I've got my binding piece here. I'll show you that in a sec. And I know I went through all of this in the walkthrough, but this is what it looks like right now. And I think these are pretty much decorated except for the pieces I'm going to put on the actual spines. So isn't that pretty? I love it. So these pieces are ready to go. They're all in order. Then let's talk next, the next page, or the 5th page. This is the last one we're going to do. So what I wanted to do, this is going to be for the back. Here's my decorations here, and I've got my page here. So I decided to use this piece of paper for this particular page. I love the house door on there, and I just think it's really pretty. That's going to go on the back because I didn't want to cover that up with my binding piece. So the front of page 5 is going to be here. Now, all of my pages are pattern paper, and again, it's because this paper is so darn thick that I'm able to get away with this. These are 8 by 5, and I cut my binding pieces at 1 1/4 by 5. Now, these are really easy to make. Basically, we're doing the L page construction. We're just adding it to the pages. Okay, so you're going to put it in your scoreboard with the 1 1/4 at the top, and we're going to score at half, and we're going to score at 3/4, and then that'll give us the 1/2 inch on the left will bind to the book. The 1/4 inch is my give space, and then this piece here is going to bind to our page. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold and burnish. And I have already inked my papers and everything. I did ink my pattern papers only. I did not ink the cardstock. Okay, so what we're going to do is just glue that to here. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over, and it's going to end up being upside down just because I can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to put glue on the inside. I want the binding piece on the front side of our pages, so I'm going to glue it to the front. Okay. Lay that down, make sure my give space does turn. Okay, and then there's that. So that's the front. Okay, then I did cut my little gusset pieces here. So those are going to be 4 7/8 by 3/8. And I'm going to just put my glue on that and glue it to the front, and that'll decorate it. And then I'll have, of course, pieces on the inside for the other side of the hinge. Okay, like so. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is on the front here, I've cut my mat here, and after I just told you that I inked everything, I forgot to ink this one. So let me do that real quick. I just noticed this is a pattern paper piece, so I used some cardstock that was left over, and then I used some pattern papers that were left over to create mats, and I thought that was really pretty. So let's put this here for a second. So this mat here is 6 1/2 by 4 1/2. Then I put the natural on there at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Okay, so that'll go here. That'll be a nice mat, and then you can put a really nice 4 by 6 picture on there, and you do not have to cut it. The other mats, you can do a 3 by 4 picture. We already talked about that in the walkthrough. So I'm just going to eyeball this. It should be 1/8 of an inch all the way around, like that. Okay, and then this will just go onto the page like that. Now what I'm going to do is kind of move it over to the right. So I'm just going to glue this all the way down. And I'm going to lay that down just right over the top here. So I'm centering it top and bottom, and I'm doing it about 1/8 of an inch away from the right-hand side because I want to put these pieces on as a decoration. Okay, so I have this little chair here, that I love. And what I wanted to do with this was I also wanted to take this piece here and kind of put it, you see there's a pot. I got glue on my fingers already. Good gravy. There's a pot here. So what I did was I took my X-Acto knife and I already have cut a slit like where the plant would be sticking out of the pot, you know, right there. Can you see that? I've already done that. And then what I'm going to do with my little plant here is I'm going to trim off the bottom of it. And then I want to stick it in the pot and make it look like the plant is in the pot. And of course, easier said than done because I'm on camera, right? Come on now. The hole is definitely big enough. There we go. I got it. I just had to get the right angle. And then I'm going to kind of tuck it behind the chair. And then that just added that much more fun to that particular cut apart. So I'm going to glue that down like to the handle here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. The handle. The armrest, I'm going to glue that there. And then I'm going to just put a little tiny bit of glue back there. Just to make sure that it's glued down, okay? And then what I want to do is I decided I want my chair here. So it's going to go down about like that. So where I'm going to glue is right here. And then the tip of this chair leg and the tip of that chair leg. And then my picture will be able to tuck underneath it, okay? So I'm just going to do that. Okay, so I put it just like that. And then I'm going to line my chair up and glue that down. And that'll be a decoration for this page. Okay, and then I wanted the light here. So I'm going to put this over here. And again, I'm only going to be able to glue it on a couple places. So I wanted the light in the corner. So I'm going to be able to glue like right here and then just the very tippy top of that. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to glue, I'm going to look at it, eyeball it again, about that far. Okay. And then lay that down like right to the edge and then kind of even at the top. So you will still be able to get that picture underneath there. And then one of the things that I found with these laser cuts, they are so intricate, is that when you lay them down, I'm using art glitter glue, it dries clear. It really, really, really does. But when you lay them down, just be careful with your glue. And then I press them with my cloth. And be very careful. I don't rub them because they can be fragile. I mean, look how thin that little piece is. So you don't want to break it. But anyways, that's how I wanted to decorate the front of that page. And then the back of this page, I don't want to cover up the door, but I do want a photo mat. So I've got this piece of the brown Cafe Ole that I had, and I'm going to just lay that down here and here. So, again, for the smaller photo mats, this brown is 3.5 by 4.5. Then the natural is 3.25 by 4.25, and then you could put a 3 by 4 picture there. Okay. So I'm going to lay that down, and then I'm going to glue it just on two sides because I also have this cut apart that I want to tuck underneath. And so I'm also going to, some of these, I did corner round some of them, like so. So I'm going to do that, and I'll ink it. So I'll be right back. So I'm going to lay this down here on this end. So I'm going to glue on the bottom and then up that side only. And I'm going to center top and bottom about 1/8 of an inch or so from the side, you know, wherever it's pleasing for you. And, you know, hey, if the picture or the papers you pick, you want to do landscape, you go right ahead, okay? And then I got this piece here. This is the cut apart here. I just love these cut aparts. They're so pretty. You can put stuff on the back. And I did corner round them and did ink them. And then that will just tuck there for a cute little thing. So once you put, like now this has 3 layers here. This page is quite sturdy. Okay. So now we just need to add them to the book. So how I do my L hinges, if you haven't seen that before, I'm going to grab, and this is an easy way of doing it, and it's helpful if I can find it, and to get my 1/2 spacer, and I'm gonna just do it 1/2 inch from the curve of my book. Now I know that my pattern paper is 2 7/8, so it's gonna be a little tiny bit past that where I line that up. I'm gonna take my page, I'm gonna fold that 1/2 inch piece back, put my glue down, making sure I'm lined up, and then I'm going to make a mess. I'm gonna make a mess. There we go. Oh, come on, Michelle. There we go. So I'm about 1/4 of an inch up and down, and I eyeballed this one. But if you want to use your ruler, you go right ahead. So I did it 1/2 inch in and then 1/4 inch up. Okay. Like so. Okay. And that looks pretty good. All right. So second page, I'm going to do the same thing. We'll just go through this pretty quick. This is how I do all my L pages. So you put glue on the 1/2 inch, do not put anything on the 1/4 inch. And then the next page, you just line up right next to the other one. Okay. Oop, I did it again. Okay, like so. And then so on and so on. Okay. So page 3, oops, that isn't quite straight, is it? No, I think it is. Yeah, it is. It's fine. It's the stuff inside the pages and stuff, the decorations and stuff. It makes it appear sometimes like it's not, but it was. So there you go. All right, next page. Same thing. Art glitter glue does dry fast, but it does give you a second. So now I will need to put another piece of pattern paper in that 1/2 inch space there. Okay. 4th page, but you've already seen that because you've already seen the walkthrough, right? Okay. Okay. Now, this is page 4. And what I want to show you is that we're going to do page 5 a little bit different, because when I do my papers on my spine, I want to see paper before and I want to see paper after. But if you keep going the same way, you're going to cover it up. I don't want to cover it up. So what I'm going to do is take this one and I'm going to fold that 1/2 inch the other direction, and we're going to glue it right on top of that last page. So that way when you turn your page, you still have your beautiful spine paper. Okay, so we're going to put the glue on this side. And lay that down right on top of the 1/2 inch from the previous page. Okay. There we go. Just make sure your glue doesn't seep out where you don't want it. And then you have your book all bound. Isn't that nice? I love it. I love, 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 love this. And we've got little flips. We've got little pullouts. We have all kinds of stuff. And I know I showed you all of that in the walkthrough. So then I wanted to show you just real quick all of the pieces that I picked for the pockets Oops, let's lay that down because it's going to come out. All right, so this little guy came from the laser cut package, and on the back there were pieces to cut out. So I wanted another little tag, just like I had this little tag here. I wanted another one, so I cut that out and used a little piece of seam binding with the tie there. Here's one of the word pieces that came from the ephemera pack. That's going to go over here. So remember, on the front I had the treasure here. I put moments over here, and again used a little bit of my last bit of my green twine to go ahead and decorate it. I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, and I'm just going to put that right here to the edge on the pocket. Okay, and then I had, like in the other set of pockets, I had some leftover papers. Again, there's a lot of writing spots on here, so you know, I thought you could write recipes on these. You could write, if you want to make it just a regular you know, photo album, you could write, you know, just document memories. You could add more pictures to this. Use the tabs from the ephemera pack, and so those are going to go in the big pocket. This is the other piece that I had left over from the ephemera pack, Grandma's Stove here. On the back I put the little word piece that says little things and then some leaves, so that's going to go in the pocket. And then I have this cut apart, this cut apart, so I did the two different ones. Now I did corner around the ones that did not have frames, so I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I kept those square, but the other ones I went ahead and corner around. So that's going to go in the smaller pocket here. And then we got my little tag, and then on this I wanted to see, it's upside down, but I wanted to see what I could do with this, and I thought, well, I wanted to put, like, make a picture frame. So what I ended up doing was actually making a little flap so you could put your picture here, and then I've got my score tape there so you could put your picture down, tape it shut, and then you have a cute little journal card photo mat kind of thing. So on this particular frame, you will have to double check it depending on which frame you use, or if you even do this, but it's 2 7/8 inch wide by 3.5 for this frame. And then I scored it at 3/8 of an inch because I wanted to kind of center that on the back of that frame right there. And I scored it. And then I lined it up right to the edge of the inside of that frame. And then once I glued that down, that little flap, then I put the score tape around. So once you put your picture there, then you can tape that shut. Okay, and you have your photo there. So that's going to go in here. That's the end of my tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. The only thing I have to do now is I have to tie this and make some knots and trim it. But other than that, I am good to go on this album, and I'm super happy with it. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed what I did with the 49 and Market Cottage Core collection. I think it's great. So go down below. There's lots of links to my other videos, to all the papers and ephemera pieces that I had, and all the things that I used. And I hope you just have fun with it. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you again soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.